This is the Yom Yom. We'll do today's and tomorrow's from the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. Okay, we have in Judaism what's called 248 commandments. A lot of those commandments depend on the Holy Temple. A lot of the commandments can only be done by certain people, like the Kohanim, for instance, or getting married. Getting married can only be done by a man to marry someone and somebody over 13, and etc. Any of those details, okay? But each commandment, the effect of the commandment, okay, 1 second. Okay, the effect of each and every commandment is by doing the effect comes from doing other commandments which are surrounding commandments. So the surrounding commandments, that draws godliness down in a general way. And then there's detailed commandments. Let's see what we mean. For instance, charity. Charity is what we call a surrounding commandment. When you give charity, it evokes an aspect of God which is totally above the world. That's why charity in the Talmud, Jerusalem Talmud, is called the commandment. Therefore, it's very appropriate to give a coin for charity before you pray or you do any commandment. I've never seen people do this, but the Rebbe said that's what before you do any commandment, specific commandment, it's good to do the general commandment, which is giving charity. This has an effect of bringing the general light, which is evoked by means of charity, the surrounding light, to bring it into the individual commandment that you're doing. So give charity before. But this type of a makif of giving charity, this is what's called a close surrounding light, which is relevant to you. But when you learn the Torah, this is you learn the Torah, so the ideas go inside of you. That's learning the Torah, but the learning of the Torah is also a commandment. It's a commandment to learn the Torah. And when you do the commandment of learning the Torah, in many ways, you're giving yourself over to God even more than giving charity. A charity is a general commandment, but it's a general commandment that's, so to speak, closer to the person who's doing it. When a person learns Torah, that's also a general commandment, but it's a commandment that evokes a much greater and encompassing light, which is much superior. This is according to Kabbalistic ideas, which are written in the books of the Arizal, especially, but the idea that when we do a commandment, that it evokes a reaction from God, this is a basic thing of like the Zohar and etc. And even Midrashim. Okay, that's today. So there's two types of commandments, general commandments, three types of commandments, if you want to call it. There's inside commandments, general commandments, which is giving charity, and super general, which is learning the Torah. Next. My father said Chassidut teaches that the beginning is inserted in the end. And the end is inserted in the beginning. Let's tell what this means in a minute. This is what's called igulim, a big circle. No beginning and end, but nevertheless, order and system are crucial. What's it mean? But how do you get close to God? How do you get close to God? So all the religions in the world say you go to heaven. You go up to heaven. There's all the angels. After you die, if you're good, you go to heaven. Heaven is closer to God. So the answer is, yeah, you're right. Heaven is closer to God. But this world is much closer to God. In other words, there's three aspects of being close to God. There's this world as we are now, which is very far away from God. Then there's heaven, which is close to God. You see God. But then there's this world the way it's supposed to be. Like when Adam was created. Then the essence of God is revealed in this world. And that's what's called the beginning, which is God, is found in the end, the world. But also the end, which is the world, is wedged into the beginning, which is the essence of God. God, when he thought to make the world, it wasn't just an arbitrary thing. Creating the world came from God's essence. So where do you connect yourself really to God is only by doing the physical commandments in this world, learning Torah in this world. And this world is going to be the raising of the dead. We can't possibly understand this. It's beyond understanding. Understanding is you go to heaven, something happens up there after you die. I don't know, right? What do you mean? You don't know? Reading the books, you get revelations of God. Okay, could be. But to say that this world is higher than heaven, where do you get that from? Where do you get that from? It says that's the whole idea of what Chassidut comes to reveal. The Baal Shem Tov was, okay, so you might think if the highest levels are found down here, so let's just forget about all these middle levels and things like that. It says, no, the Baal Shem Tov was very systematic and orderly. The Maggid insisted on order. My great-grandfather, the Alter Rebbe, taught Hasidim they have to be orderly. And there's every detail of this world, the spiritual things you do are very important. Detail. We see this in the Maimorim and the letters, even the songs. Hasidim that had set times to come to the Rebbe in Liazon, the first Rebbe of Chabad, and later in Liadi, were not permitted to change the schedule without permission from the Rebbe. Nothing was accidental. Any request for a change had to be justified with a reason. The Rebbe had a special committee headed by his brother, Rebbe Yehuda Lev, charged with overseeing order. We're talking about the Alter Rebbe, order among the Hasidim. Another committee, which was under his son, the Middle Rebbe, directed the younger Hasidim, but they had to have order, systematic, a time for waking up, a time for going to sleep, a time for everything. Everything was very, very exact in what they did. Nevertheless, this physical world is attached to the essence, which in the essence, there's no order in the essence. It's just pure oneness of God. So that's what Judaism is. Let's have a story. Here we go.